The corn will die soon.
We'll find a way, Professor, we always have.
Driven by the unshakable faith, the earth is ours.
It is Barbieheimer month. As Christina has been reminding us for at least a year now, July is the month when Greta Gerwig's Barbie movie and Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer open on the same day, fueling an intense marketing rivalry.
Round 1, fight!
We have previously covered Lady Bird, Greta Gerwig's amazing solo directorial debut, and we dipped a small toe into Christopher Nolan's previous work with our Memento episode. As Christopher Nolan's catalog is deep and very varied, we thought we'd catch the algorithmic wave with a newer and more sweeping Christopher Nolan movie. Tonight we're going to be discussing the sweeping 2-hour and 46-minute space epic Interstellar. Christopher Nolan directed, produced, and even co-wrote this 2014 science fiction film. As most space operas do, Interstellar pays serious tribute to Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey. Since Kubrick made 2001 as a magnum opus in 1968, it has been the gold standard that space epics strive for. And like Kubrick, Christopher Nolan had lots of help from real astrophysicists and scientists to make Interstellar scientifically up to par.
And we went back and forth for 2 weeks, and finally he threw in the towel.
What Kip's referring to is I had wanted an element of the story where people traveled faster than the speed of light.
Right.
And it was something that was pretty important to me, and
Right.
he made it very clear over a fairly long period of time that that is not possible.
Yeah.
In fact, the idea for this sweeping project came from theoretical physicist Kip Thorne and producer Linda Obst. They'd previously helped make Carl Sagan's novel Contact into a film in 1997, and they started talking about making Kip Thorne's work into an accessible film. They got as far as attaching Steven Spielberg to the project after he read an 8-page treatment. However, when Spielberg left Paramount for Disney, DreamWorks had to leave the project behind. Spielberg had gotten Jonathan Nolan, yes, Chris's brother, on board as a screenwriter, and soon the idea of exploring space-time piqued his interest and he joined his brother on the project. Jonathan Nolan had gone to the California Institute of Technology to study relativity for 4 years to write this screenplay. He also became fascinated with the Dust Bowl, and Chris got permission from Ken Burns to use some of his Dust Bowl interviews.
This happened about 1:30 when that thing came off the top of that canyon.
In my day, we had real ball players.
However, the many ideas that Jonathan Nolan and Kip Thorne had come up with had to be cut down to a few key ideas and turned into a real screenplay. Still, the space epic came in at a staggering close to 3-hour runtime. The film stars Matthew McConaughey, Jessica Chastain, Anne Hathaway, Matt Damon, Michael Caine, and Timothée Chalamet. Christopher Nolan's search for a leading man, Matthew McConaughey as Cooper, sought a relatable everyman to help us as an audience experience the story. Other actors like Casey Affleck, Mackenzie Foy, and Ellen Burstyn played differently aged versions of Murph and Tom, the children of Matthew McConaughey's Coop.
Early 1980s, it seemed clear to me that the first thing we would see would be colliding black holes. And it seemed also clear to me that we really needed to have a capability to simulate colliding black holes in order to understand the signals well enough in order to be able to analyze the data. And so I think perhaps my biggest contribution was making sure that happened.
The work of Kip Thorne is deeply embedded in this tale of desperate space travel. Thorne's research has been into relativistic astrophysics, black holes, and gravitational waves, for which Thorne co-founded the LIGO Institution, Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. However, his most well-known and controversial claim is a theory that wormholes could be used for time travel.
You have a wormhole, it has two mouths. One mouth stays here in this room, I give the other mouth to my wife, and she has very advanced technology, and so she rides this very rapid spacecraft out for about, say, a year out at nearly the speed of light, and then comes back. And so 2 years have elapsed as seen by her, but as seen by me, 50 years have elapsed. So I am really old by the time I come back. But if we hold hands through the wormhole, just looking, she looks at my watch, I look at hers, they have to tick at the same rate. That seems pretty obvious, and it is the case.
The Nolans and Thorne consulted with many scientists, toured NASA and SpaceX, and even had astronauts come on set. The film takes place in the dystopian near future, where a crop disease called blight is ravaging the world's crops and replacing the oxygen it takes with nitrogen, slowly making the Earth uninhabitable.
Earth's atmosphere is 80% nitrogen. We don't even breathe nitrogen. Blight does, and as it thrives, our air gets less and less oxygen. The last people to starve will be the first to suffocate. And your daughter's generation will be the last to survive on Earth.
Somewhere in the decades before 2067, when the story starts, the global famine forced every nation to rethink how they've structured themselves. Most Americans had to become farmers. Only a select elite get a college education, and teaching farming and agriculture became the priority. Cooper is a former NASA pilot turned farmer trying to raise 2 kids after the death of his wife.
I can't tell you any more unless you agree to pilot this craft. You're the best pilot we ever had.
I barely left the stratosphere.
This team never left the simulator. We need a pilot, and this is the mission that you were trained for.
After getting a strange signal from a gravitational anomaly, Cooper and Murph stumble into NASA headquarters, which is now underground because of the new society's priorities. This is not an accident, it's a message, and Cooper has been chosen to fly the Endurance spacecraft on a mission to find the scientist explorers who have been previously gone into space searching for a new exoplanet that can sustain human life. The same unseen beings, they, who have given Cooper the message, were nice enough to open a wormhole near Saturn, which can quickly take our scientific team into a different galaxy. The Endurance, in keeping with the accuracy of the film, was designed around the International Space Station. It should go without saying that another inspiration was Kubrick's Space Station, which rotates majestically in space in 2001. Interstellar also utilizes robots, which must do maintenance and operate the Endurance. Case and Tars are 2 such robots whose disembodied voices eerily bring you back to HAL 3000, the villain of 2001.
Everybody good? Plenty of slaves for my robot colony?
Give him the humor setting so he fit in better with his unit. Thinks it relaxes us.
A giant, sarcastic robot.
This is played for laughs, with Tars admitting that it can lie, be sarcastic, and keep secrets, which horrifies Cooper.
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
I don't know what you're talking about, Hal.
I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me.
The wormhole and black hole visual effects were supervised by Kip Thorne and modeled after real images and theoretical equations from the Event Horizon Telescope, and the spherical wormhole is scientifically accurate. The Nolans hoped that Interstellar would spur an increasing interest in and understanding of space exploration. Christopher Nolan also raises questions about our conception of a greater good and whether we can even try to supersede the notion of individualism. This is, quite frankly, a terrifying subject to broach on the brink of a climate disaster. After undergoing a pandemic and watching 1 million Americans die, many in easily preventable cases, we just went back to normal. In Interstellar, similarly, we begin in a grim, desolate, but normalized society undergoing an extinction-level catastrophe, but slowly enough to have a new normal. The dystopian quality of an Earth where deception must reign at the core for humans to even take the massive emergencies seriously hits so hard. More than ever, the questions raised in Interstellar feel like a screeching warning in a situation just a touch less dire than the nightmarish one dreamed up by 2 Batman screenwriters and a theoretical physicist who believes in time travel.
General settings. Security settings.
Honesty, new setting. 95%.
Confirmed. Additional customization.
Humor. 75%.
Confirmed. Auto self-destruct T minus 10, 9.
Let's make that 60%.